Hey guys, Anthony here, and today I want to talk about the subject of the inner guidance system, this success mechanism that every single have inside of them, in their mind. The idea of a success mechanism that we were never taught how to use, and that most of us use not as a success mechanism but as a failure mechanism to convince us of producing bad results into our lives. So what I'm referencing is it's a principle in the book from Maxwell Maltz called psychocybernetic. When you look at what psychocybernetic means, psycho means mind, and cybernetics, it's this idea, it's the study of circular processes like feedback loops, and the study of how systems self-regulate and steer towards a certain goal. From cybernetic, we get it from the Greek word kybernetes, that refers to a person who steers a sheep. So it's understanding that in our mind, we have a goal-seeking mechanism, and that aligns us towards our goals, towards our vision, or towards our failure, depending on how we use it. This goal-seeking mechanism uses many principles to function, which many high performers in many kinds of fields, artists, athletes, musicians, they all use in a certain way of how have learned intentionally or unintentionally to use to produce good fruits in their lives. So we got to tie this idea of success mechanism to the subconscious mind, the mind that is under. It contains much more information that we're not aware of, much more than our conscious mind can hold in. And it's kind of this database, this internet of information within you, and it kind of works like an AI, like ChatGPT in a sense. It has access to a whole lot of information. When we learn how to actually use the subconscious mind, we can learn how to get new ideas, revelations, how to actually receive the steps necessary for us to reach a certain goal from A to Z. Because actually it's not the job of our conscious mind to figure out the A to Z, the path to all of our goals, but to allow how to work with the conscious mind, which is the part of us that actually judges and sets goals, and the subconscious, which works on the goals like in the background when we're not focused. It doesn't question the ability of how, if that goal is even able to be achieved. It's this database that we can seek out, and it brings to the surface ideas, path to actually guide us from that process to A to Z. Meaning we don't need to have all the process figured out. One of the things that stop people from trying to accomplish the things they want to accomplish, their goals, is the fear. They only see from A to C, but they don't see the rest. It's dark, and they wonder, they panic, they stress. Learning how to use the subconscious mind, you're going to learn how to actually bring about the future steps that you need to take. And understand that the this success mechanism, it's like those heat-seeking missiles. In a sense, that's how our mind functions. When we set a goal, it's like we use that missile in our mind, and it targets the goal. And then when you launch it, eventually it starts making the calculation by itself, and it guides, and then it goes off track and it recalculates, it realigns like a GPS, and it tells you, okay, you need to go there, and then makes a mistake, that it realigns until it reaches the goal. So it's understanding that we have had this kind of mechanism in our minds that we can use to our advantage. Like I said, the conscious mind is the part of us that makes judgment, that sets goal, that judges the situation, that takes in the information. With the information taken in, now the subconscious goes through all of that information and works out the perfect path, and will give it to us subconsciously, like an intuition, like ideas that just pop in your mind. But all of that functions when we're at rest. A lot of the reason that we don't learn how to use that or get this revelation is most of our lives, especially in the West, is run left, go right. We're not mindful. We're out of touch with our mind, and we're anxious, we're stressed, so we kind of we slow down this process, and it doesn't happen, it doesn't work. So learning how to be mindful, meditation, is something that can be a massive boost to learning how to use that and to get clarity. So if you use the AI, ChatGPT, imagine your conscious mind is you entering the information that you have. You set the goal. Okay, I want to know this information. Then you put it in the subconscious, and then you wait, and then eventually your subconscious goes through all the information, and then whoop, it may take some time, but eventually whoop, it'll give you all those series of information. That's a bit how the goal-seeking mechanism works in our mind. And the thing is, the subconscious doesn't question if it's possible or not. And the thing is, the subconscious works with desire. When we have desire, Maxwell Maltz in his book Psycho-Cybernetics says that the desire to achieve something, to achieve a goal, is actually what helps us target that goal, what our mind starts programming itself to lead itself to that goal. But sometimes the way that we use it every day is we actually set negative goals. We set negative vision, and we focus, whatever we focus and have a desire on, we're intentional looking at towards. If we say, oh, I am always having trouble with money, always this, always all of these self-fulfilling prophecies that happen because we target those things, and our mind actually give us the steps. We align our body, our actions towards doing those repeated problems, those repeated patterns without realizing. And we can use it instead of negative cycles to turn it to the positive. And there's a verse that's really interesting, Habakkuk 2, verse 2-3, that kind of exemplify that mechanism in maybe a more mystical way. But here's what it says. Write down the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For this vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So what do we see is this first part, write down the vision, the goal. So that's the thing that you can do, because it's important to actually make it plain before our eyes. When you have the desire for something, write down the vision. What is the goal you want to accomplish? Who do you want to become? And make it plain. Specify it. Give it details on the paper so that you may look at it. Think of it as the same way that God told Abraham, look at the stars and the sand. All those signs that he would have before his eyes every night and day would be a sign of the fulfillment of the promise that he didn't see yet. Everything outside of him was telling him that it's impossible for his goal to be accomplished, for what the promises of God said would happen. Look at the stars at night, the sand, and he would constantly say, he would constantly see those two things when he would walk. It would remind him, envision, and give him the desire for that seed, for that promise to eventually manifest. So again, when you have a vision for something, write it down, make it plain, so you can look at it repeatedly and reprogram yourself, reprogram that mechanism so that it starts aiming towards it, so that he that reads it may run. And again, there's a path to run on, and that path is the subconscious that reveals it. When we take action towards, we need to take action towards becoming that person. I want to be a writer, so start writing. Take action right now. And as you start doing those things, you kind of get the momentum. You're going to get the ideas, that flow of life. This is what was happening when I started content creation. The more I wrote, the more that the idea will come naturally, and it would kind of give us this flow. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it should speak and not lie. Sometimes you have these dreams, these hopes. My first goal right now is get 10K subscribers. I have 62, and it's this idea of, okay, on the outside I have 62 and I have these doubts sometimes, but now I know that I have this vision and I have this new idea for videos, and it's trusting the process, that even if I don't see the number of subscribers yet, is understanding that as I keep running, even it might tarry, it might take some time to wait for it, because surely it will come. So you set the goal, make it plain so you can read it repeatedly, and then you get the process of envisioning and desiring it, so that you can program the subconscious, and your subconscious kind of start getting into this flow. The mechanism can start turning, so it can give you new ideas to walk on it. And then eventually, as you take the steps, you walk the road, it becomes this bridge from A to C. Even if the external world doesn't seem like it's there yet, you gotta change the internal world to start actually believing that you are there. And I actually have a testimony personally. There was a time my vision, my goal was to get $10,000, just like that. I wanted to try. I was learning these metaphysical laws, and I wanted to try them out. And then I set a vision, 10K, and I was praying and imagining myself already having it, programming myself already being that person with 10,000. And eventually, it's like the path. There's an event that happened that kind of led me on that path. There's a brother of mine that called me and said, "Oh, I have a job out of nowhere. I have a job for you for renovation." And I did the job. And I did the job. It took 4 months. I worked, and I acted out, And eventually, at the end, when I look at how much money I had made during that time, it was $10,400 something. And I was like, whoa, exactly. The vision. I had a vision. I imagined myself being it. Meditation at rest, so I can learn how to this program, this mechanism start working. And eventually it's like this, it actually affected the external. It led to my brother actually giving me a call, and then I acted upon it. And I worked for him, and at the end of the day, boom. I eventually lost that money because of, when it comes to wealth, it's actually an internal reality. And I got a dream where God told me, okay, next time you see yourself as somebody who makes this amount of money per month. And this is where I'm in this process. But that's another story. So yeah, this idea that we have those powerful tools to actually shape our reality and learning how to use them and the success mechanism. I really recommend reading Psycho-Cybernetic Maxwell Maltz. There are many other important principles that you can use to actually, achieve your dreams, achieve your goals, start walking on that path where you're like, I know I have more in me and I want to learn how to manifest it in the world. And just start small. Your journey of 1,000 steps, you got to start with one step. And trust that even if everything outside of you tells you, it's not possible, tell yourself, no, I have this fire, this desire that God laid inside of me, this seed inside that I want to put into the heart, into the soil of my heart, take care of it, and then until it grows and it gives me an abundance. So yeah, that's all for today. Learning that everybody has a success mechanism, this inner guidance system that we can learn how to use. And I've given you a few keys, and hopefully you can start applying them and seeing results, because when it does, you're going to see the results, the fruits, the little seeds coming out. Even if it's not full yet, it really starts shifting the way you perceive reality, and it becomes kind of magical. Anyways, peace.